Hello students, I am Anup sir and today I will be starting with the topic mechanical energy and its different forms. So as told earlier, you should have the notes in your hand and then it will be easy for you to understand the topic. Now here I have drawn a chart for the mechanical energy and its different form. So we will try to understand the different forms through this chart. Now see here in the chart you can see first of all mechanical energy. So what is mechanical energy? So for mechanical energy we say that the energy possessed by a body due to its state of rest or motion. So whenever a body possesses energy due to its state of rest. Now what do we mean by a body at rest posing a energy? See, body at rest posing energy means, suppose you must have seen, take a piece of stone and keep it at a certain height. There you say the stone piece is at rest. But if that stone piece is allowed to fall down, then when it strikes the ground, it will be able to do some work. So here we say a stone piece kept at a certain height, it is at rest, but the energy which it is posing because of its height, we call it as mechanical energy. It's a part of a mechanical energy. Similarly, we take a spring and we compress the spring. Again the spring is at rest, but because of its deformed body, that is its shape and size has changed, though the body is at rest. So the energy possessed by the body at that time, it is mechanical energy. Then if a body is in motion, then also body has energy to do work. Then again we say a body in motion has a mechanical energy. So a body which is in a state of rest or state of motion, in both the cases body will be having energy and that energy is termed as mechanical energy. Now here these two words we have used, body in a state of rest or motion. So the energy which a body possesses being at rest, then such energy is called potential energy. See, what is potential energy? When the body is at rest, but it possesses energy due to its position or size and shape, then that energy is called potential energy. And if the body is in motion, then the energy possessed by the body is called kinetic energy. Okay, now here we say that body is at rest but possesses energy due to its position or size and shape. So that means this potential energy can be further subdivided like this: gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy. Now, the energy possessed by the body due to its position above the ground level, that is called the gravitational potential energy, and the body being at rest but it possesses energy because of the change in its shape and size, that is called elastic potential energy. So potential energy can be further subdivided in two parts, gravitational and elastic. So here you can see what is gravitational potential energy: energy possessed by the body due to position above the ground level. Whenever a body is placed at a certain height above the ground level, we say that the body is having gravitational potential energy. And due to change in shape and size, that means if you compress a spring, then that spring possesses elastic potential energy. Or you stretch a rubber band, then also due to the change in its shape and size, it possesses elastic potential energy. Kinetic energy was energy due to motion. Now kinetic energy can be further subdivided in three parts: translational, rotational and vibrational. Now we know that motion can be of three different types: Motion can be in a straight line. So if a body is moving in a straight line, we call it as a translational motion. At that point, the energy possessed by the body is called translational kinetic energy. If a body is rotating, then also we say that the body is in motion, and the energy possessed by the body during rotation is called rotational kinetic energy. If a body is vibrating to and fro about the mean position, then also we say that the body is in motion, and the energy possessed by the body at that time is called vibrational kinetic energy. So this is the chart that will tell you what is a mechanical energy and how can it be further subdivided. So mechanical energy means energy possessed by the body due to its state of rest or motion. Whether the body is at rest or body is in motion, energy possessed by the body at that time is called mechanical energy. And that mechanical energy can be divided in two subparts. One, when the body is at rest, but it possesses energy due to its position or size and shape. It is called potential. And if the body possesses energy due to motion, it is kinetic. Potential is further subdivided, gravitational and elastic. And kinetic is divided in three subparts: translational, rotational and vibrational. So these are the different forms of mechanical energy. Now we will do how to derive the formula for gravitational potential energy and kinetic energy. Now the formula that we have in our course for gravitational potential energy. How gravitational potential energy can be calculated. So it is saying that it is measured by amount of work done in lifting the body of mass m up from the ground to a height h against the force of gravity. Now we say that whenever a body is kept above the ground level, it possesses gravitational potential energy. Now if you are asked how much gravitational potential energy will a body have if it is placed at a height h above the ground. Now for that, how gravitational potential energy is calculated? It is equal to work done against gravity. And we know that formula for work done against gravity is mgh, where m will be the mass of the body which is being lifted, g will be the acceleration due to gravity on the body, and h will be the height to which the body is raised. So calculating the work done by the formula mgh, we can calculate the potential energy stored in the body. So this is the formula for calculating gravitational potential energy. That means the potential energy of a body which is kept at a certain height above the ground level. So you can apply this formula to calculate gravitational potential energy. Next we have to see how to calculate the kinetic energy of the body. So here, before going to that, you can see that gravitational potential energy, it depends upon mass, gravity and height. More the mass, more will be the potential energy stored in the body. More the height above the ground level, more will be the potential energy stored in the body. Now here we have to derive the formula for kinetic energy. Now see how kinetic energy is calculated. Kinetic energy is calculated by amount of work done by an opposing force to stop a moving body. Now let us consider if a body is in motion and you apply some force to stop the body, then whatever work will be done by the force, that will be known as the kinetic energy of the body. So From here, let us calculate first of all retarding force. Retarding force is mass into retardation. So F is equal to ma. That's the first equation we have got. Okay, now as here it is said that kinetic energy is calculated by amount of work done. So let us calculate how much work the force will do, and that work calculated will be known as kinetic energy. So here we can say that kinetic energy is equal to work done by retarding force. And what's the formula for work done? Force into displacement. F into S. That's the second equation we are getting. Force into displacement. So work done by retarding force. Okay, now how much is the initial velocity of the body here? Initial velocity of the body is v, and now the question says that the body is to be brought to rest. So final velocity will be 0. Now acceleration over here is minus a. Hope it is clear to you why we are taking acceleration as minus a, because it is retardation. So we are taking it as minus a. Now you know this relation, and how much is the displacement? V square is equal to u square plus 2as. This is the relation. So here V means final velocity. Final velocity is 0. Initial velocity is V. This will become minus 2as. So 2as is equal to V square. So S is equal to V square upon 2a. Hope this much is clear to you. So this we have got relation of S with V and A. Now what we will do, we are required to calculate formula for kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equal to Fs. So from equation number 1 you substitute F over here, and from equation number 3 you substitute S over here, and you will get the formula for kinetic energy. So let us substitute. Here kinetic energy is equal to F into S. Now F will be replaced from first equation, and A. S will be replaced from third equation. This will cancel out, so K is equal to half mv square. So this is how we will be deriving the formula for kinetic energy. in this equation number 2, Fs, from equation number 1 we have substituted Na, and from equation number 3 we have substituted V square upon 2A in place of S. A and A will cancel out and you will get formula for kinetic energy. So this is how we will be deriving formula for kinetic energy. Have a relationship between kinetic energy and momentum. So let us derive this relation. So for that, let us consider a body of mass m moving with velocity v. First of all, we will write the formula for the momentum. So momentum, that is represented by P, will be equal to mass into velocity. So we can say P is equal to mv. That's the first equation we have got. Now, as the body is moving with velocity v, so what will be the kinetic energy of the body? It will be half into m into v square. Now what we will do, from equation number 1, we will substitute v in terms of P over here. So substituting V is equal to P by M from 1 in 2. So kinetic energy is equal to half M, and now in place of V we will be substituting P upon M. So on solving it, you are getting P square upon 2M. So here we can say this is the relation between kinetic energy and momentum. So what is the relation? Kinetic energy is equal to P square upon 2M, or if you cross multiply, then you can write 2mk is equal to P square. 2mk is equal to P square, which gives you P is equal to under root 2mk. So this is the relation between kinetic energy and momentum. So depending upon this relation between kinetic energy and momentum, now this is one relation, you can write the relation like this, or you can write the relation like this. Now depending upon these relations, we will discuss about the 3 different cases. So here you can see that kinetic energy, now if you go for this formula, then according to this formula, kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass. More the mass, more is the kinetic energy. But here kinetic energy is inversely proportional to mass. Now this condition will be used when we have to compare kinetic energy of 2 bodies moving with same velocity. If 2 bodies are moving with same velocity, then their kinetic energy depends upon the mass. And this condition we are going to use when 2 bodies will be in motion, having the same momentum. If 2 bodies have same momentum, then we will say kinetic energy is inversely proportional to mass. So remember, kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass if 2 bodies move with same velocity. But kinetic energy is inversely proportional to mass if 2 bodies have same momentum. So we will discuss about these 2 cases here. 2 bodies, one is of light mass and the other one is of heavy mass, and they have same momentum, and now we have to compare their kinetic energy. Now let us calculate kinetic energy of the two bodies. So let us calculate kinetic energy of light body. K1. Now formula for kinetic energy in terms of momentum. Now here we are going to use the formula for kinetic energy in terms of momentum because they have same momentum. So it will be P square upon 2m. That's the kinetic energy of light body. Now let us calculate kinetic energy of heavy body. Let it be represented by K2. Momentum is P because both are having the same momentum. And mass is capital M. So this is kinetic energy of heavy body. Now we have to compare them. So let us divide these two. This will cancel out. So K1 upon K2 is equal to capital M upon small m. Now of these two, we know that capital M is greater. Capital M is greater, so that means corresponding to capital M we have K1. So we will say that K1 is greater than K2. And K1 was the kinetic energy of, K1 is the kinetic energy of lighter body. So thus, kinetic energy of light body will be more. So this is how you are going to compare kinetic energy of two bodies. And case 2, again we have been given two bodies, one of light mass and the other one heavy mass, and this time they are saying they are moving with same velocity. In case 1 they were having the same momentum, but here they are having the same velocity and we have to compare their kinetic energy. So let us calculate their kinetic energy. So half. Now this time we will be using the formula in which we will be getting velocity because they are moving with same velocity. So this is how we are going to calculate kinetic energy of the two bodies. Now let us compare them. So cancel out, so you are left with. Now the ratio again we have got in terms of mass. Now as we know that capital M is representing heavy mass, so capital M will be greater. So corresponding to capital M we have K2. K2 is greater than K1. And what K2 is representing? K2 is representing kinetic energy of heavy body. So in this case we have kinetic energy of heavy body is more. Giving two bodies of light mass and heavy mass, and this time they are saying they have same kinetic energy. and we have to compare their momentum. So what we will do, we will calculate momentum of the two bodies in terms of kinetic energy, because here kinetic energy has been given same. Both have same kinetic energy. Comparing their momentum. So here taking root common. K is same, it will cancel out, so we have got now from here we can see that capital M is greater than corresponding to capital M we have P2, and what P2 is, it is momentum of heavy mass. Momentum of heavy mass will be more. Hope this is clear to you. We have applied the formula for momentum in terms of kinetic energy. As kinetic energy was same, so K will cancel out. So we will be getting a relation, or you can say we'll be getting the ratio for P1 and P2 in terms of small m and capital M. According to work energy theorem, work done by a force on a moving object will be equal to increase in kinetic energy. Now let us do the derivation for it. That work done is equal to increase in kinetic energy. For that we have considered a body of mass m is acted upon by a constant force F along the direction of motion. So force and displacement are both in the same direction, such that it produces an acceleration A and the velocity of the body changes from u to v in moving a distance s. Now first of all, we can see that body of mass m is acted upon by a force. So let us calculate force. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. That's the first equation we are getting. Okay, next, what's the formula for work done? Work is equal to force into displacement. As the question says that force is in the same direction along the motion, so formula will be Fs. Now we have one more relation from here. See, V square is equal to From the equation of motion, we have this relation. So from here, what we will do, we will find S. So how can you find S from here? This will be V square minus U square is equal to so we have calculated S. Now what we will do in the second equation, see we have to calculate work here in terms of kinetic energy. So in the second equation, we will substitute F and S from the first equation and third equation. So let us do the substitution. Now F from the first equation, S from the third equation, so you are left with half m, because A and A will cancel out, so half m. Now this is representing, as V is the final velocity, so this is representing final kinetic energy and this is representing initial kinetic energy. K final minus K initial. So final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy will give us change in kinetic energy, and this relation is called work energy theorem. So this is how we can derive work energy theorem, that the work done is equal to increase in kinetic energy. Final minus initial, as the velocity is increasing, so you can also call it as increase. This change will be representing increase because final is more, because here velocity is increasing, because as there is an acceleration, so that means velocity is increasing. So final will be more and initial will be less. So this change is representing increase in kinetic energy. This was the theorem. Now we are starting with the numericals, and the first numerical, they say a box of weight 150 gf. Now remember, whenever the weight of body is given to you in gravitational unit, then that weight will be considered as the mass of the body. So here they have given you weight of the box is 150 gram force. So we can say that mass of the body is 150 grams. That is 150 upon 1000. So on reducing it, we are getting 3 upon 20 kg. So this is the mass of the body given over here. Hope this point is clear to you. They gave us weight in gravitational units, so we got its mass. Okay, now they have given you gravitational potential energy. Okay, what's the formula for potential energy? Formula for potential energy is mgh. How much is potential energy? 14700. Mass is 3 upon 20. Gravity is given 9.8, and we need to calculate height. So from here height will be 14700 into 20 upon 3 into 9.8. Now you will solve this part to get the height. So when you solve this part, you are getting height as 10 meter. So here you can see that weight was given to us, but in gravitational unit. So whenever weight is in gravitational unit, that will be the mass. So mass was 150 grams, we converted it into kg. And then in the question, potential energy was given. So we applied the formula for potential energy and substituted the values, we got height. So coming to the second numerical. Now let's see what's given in second numerical. In the second numerical, they are saying a body of mass 5 kg falls from a height of 10 meter to 4 meter. Initially, body was at height of 10 meter. So let us calculate its initial potential energy. Here gravity is given 10 and initially height is 10. So its initial potential energy is 500 joule. Now the body goes down and it comes to height of 4 meter. So final mass will remain the same, gravity is also same, and height decreases to 4. So we have 200 joule. So initially potential energy of the body was 500, and as the body falls down and comes to height of 4 meter, then we are seeing that its potential energy becomes 200 joules. So how much is the loss in potential energy? Joule. Now let's see the second part. In the second part, they are saying the total energy possessed by the body. Now remember, energy may change from one form to another form, but it cannot be destroyed. So whatever was the initial total energy with the body, same will remain at any instant. So here they are asking you the total energy possessed by the body at any instant. So what was its total energy in the starting? So in the starting, it was having only the potential energy, because body was kept at a height of, body started to fall from a height of 10 meter. So that means at the height of 10 meter, it was having only the potential energy, and that was 500 joule, and that will be taken as the total energy of the body. Now, when the body comes to the height of 4 meter, it experiences loss of 300 joule of energy, and it is having only 200 joule of energy at the height of 4 meter. But that 300 joule loss of potential energy must have converted into some another form. So that means the total energy of the body will remain still 500. So the total energy at any instant will remain whatever it was initially. See, initially it was 500, then it was 200 joule potential energy, and 300 joule of potential energy has converted into some other form. But they are not asking for potential energy, they are asking for the total energy. So the total energy will remain the same. See, potential energy has reduced, it has converted into some another form, but the total energy will remain whatever it was in the starting. So initially the energy that the body was posing was 500 joule. So it will remain 500 joule throughout its fall. So you can pause and note it down. It says a man of mass 50 kg climbs up a ladder of height 10 meter. Calculate the work done by man. Now, as the man is moving in upward direction, remember when a body moves in upward direction, he does work against gravity. So, in the first part, we have to calculate work against gravity. And the work against gravity formula is mgh. Here m is 50, g is 9.8 and height is 10. So you do the calculation and you will get the work done. So it's 4,900 joule. Now coming to the second part, increase in potential energy. Now remember, whenever a body is lifted from the ground level, then remember whatever is the work done, same is the increase in potential energy. Because or you can do it this way, at the ground level, potential energy will be taken as 0, because at ground level we consider height is 0. Now potential energy at height 10 meter. So mass is 50. Now initially you have read that potential energy at a certain height is equal to work done. So we could have directly taken it from here also, that work done was 4,900, so same will be the potential energy at the height of 10 meter. Now at the ground level energy was 0, and on reaching the height of 10 meter potential energy is 4,900. So how much is the increase? So increase in potential energy is 4,900 joule. So you can pause and note down this. Block B weighing 150 Newton, and it is being pulled up a slope of length 5 meter by means of a constant force 100 Newton. What is the work done by the force? Now if you see in the diagram, the direction of the force F applied and the direction of displacement, that is along the slope, are same. So work done by force F into S. Both you can see force and displacement are in the same direction. So force applied is of 500 Newton, and the displacement that is along the slope is of 5 meter. So the work done by the force in displacing the body along the slope will be 500 joule. Now in the second part they have asked us to calculate what is the increase in potential energy. Now increase in potential energy can be calculated two ways. Now if you have to calculate the increase in potential energy, first of all you calculate potential energy at the ground level, that is always 0. Then you calculate the potential energy at the top and you subtract them and you will get increase in potential energy. The second way of finding the increase in potential energy is you straight away calculate the work done against the gravity, and the work done against the gravity will give you increase in potential energy. Work done against gravity. So formula is where mg is weight and h is height. Now here how much is the weight given? Weight of the block given is 150 and the vertical height is 3 meter. 450 joule of work has been done. So that will be increase in potential energy. So we have calculated. Now remember here in this formula, work done against gravity mgh, here this mg is representing weight of the body. So weight into height, so weight was 150 Newton, it was given in the question, and you can see the vertical height is 3 meter. So this is the increase in potential energy. So this is one way of calculating the increase in potential energy, or the other way is you take the initial potential energy at the ground level as 0, then you calculate potential energy at the height of 3 meter and subtract them, that will give you increase in potential energy. Now in the third part we have to account for the difference. Now see, we know that whenever we do work on a body, see, if the body is moving through the slope, how much work has to be done? 500 joule of work has to be done if it is moving along the slope. But in the second part you can see, if we are lifting the body directly through the height of 3 meter, then how much work is being done? Work done is 450. Same body is taken to the same position, but once the body is taken along the slope, then the work done is 500 joule. And when the same body is raised directly, then the work done is 450 joule. So they are asking you account for this difference, or why there is difference in doing work when going along the slope and once raising the body directly. Now see, when we are taking the body along the slope, then there will be some friction present between the sloping and the block. To overcome that friction, some extra work has to be done. So what is the difference here in work? Difference in work is of 50 joule. And why this difference of work is occurring because of friction between the block and the slope. This is the reason why some extra work has to be done when body is being taken along the sloping, because along the sloping there was friction, and to overcome that friction some extra work has to be done. So you can pause and note it down. 5. How fast should a man weighing 600 Newton run so that his kinetic energy is 750? So first of all, you can see here his weight is given in absolute unit. So let's apply the formula for weight and get the mass of the man. So formula for weight is mass into gravity. So weight is given 600, gravity is given 10. So we have got mass of man as 60 kg. So we have calculated mass of man. Now the question says how much fast. So they are asking for the speed of the man, and the kinetic energy is given to you as 750 joule. So let us write the formula for kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is 750. Mass of the man is 60. So on cross multiplication it is 1500 upon 60. So on reducing it, so V is equal to so we have got velocity as 5 meter per second. So first of all, weight was given in Newton. So from weight we calculated his mass, and then as energy was given, kinetic energy, so we applied the formula for kinetic energy and got his velocity. So you can pause and note it down. A car is running at a speed of 15 km per hour, while another similar car is moving at a speed of 45 km per hour. Find the ratio of their kinetic energy. Okay, now as the question says, these are similar cars. So as these are similar cars, so that means their mass will be same. Okay, now we have to compare their kinetic energy. Okay. So we can write it like this: kinetic energy of first car to be compared with kinetic energy of second car. Okay, formula for first one will be half m1 into v1 square. For second one it will be half m2 v2 square. Now this half will cancel out. Both the cars are similar. As they are similar cars, so mass will be equal, so that will also cancel out. So we will be left with v1 square upon v2 square, where v1 and v2 are the velocity. Now as the velocity of the two cars is given in kilometer per hour. Now remember, if we were to calculate the kinetic energy in terms of joule, then we were supposed to convert the speed which is given to us in kilometer per hour into meter per second. Remember it? If we were asked to calculate kinetic energy of each car, or if we were calculating the kinetic energy of each car, then to calculate energy in joule, we would have taken velocity in meter per second. But here we are not calculating, we are just comparing the kinetic energy. So no need to convert velocity into meter per second, because whenever we do the comparison, that means whenever we find the ratio, then if unit of V1 and V2 is same, no need to do the conversion in SI or CGS, they will cancel out each other. So V1 is 15, V2 is 45. So when you reduce it, you are getting 1 upon 9. So the ratio of the kinetic energy will be 1:9. So finally you can write your answer. The ratio of the kinetic energy is 1:9. If suppose their speed were given in centimeter per second, then also we would not have converted it into meter per second, because when we are doing the comparison, then unit of these two will cancel out each other. So if they are in the same unit, let it be whatever the unit they have given, we just cancel it out. So you can pause and note it down. Question number 7 says a truck weighing 1000 kgf changes its speed from 36 km per hour to 72 km per hour in 2 minutes. Calculate work done by the engine and its power. Now here calculation for work is to be done. We have to calculate the work done. So that means it is necessary for us to change the speed from kilometer per hour to meter per second. Now see, in the previous question that we did, there was comparison. So when there was a comparison, so speed of both the cars in the previous question were in kilometer per hour. So we took it in kilometer per hour because there was a comparison. So they cancelled the unit of each other. But here we have to do the calculation of work done. Okay. Now how to calculate the work done here? First of all, they have given you weight of the truck. So as you can see, weight of the truck is given in kgf, so we can say mass is known to us. So mass of the truck is 1000 kg. Okay. Next they have given us the speed is changing from 36 to 72. So initial speed represented by U is 36 km per hour. So we are going to convert it into meter per second. Then we have the final velocity. (72 into) So we have calculated initial velocity and the final velocity in meter per second. Now from here we have to calculate the work done. Now you know about work energy theorem. So by work energy theorem, work done is equal to increase in kinetic energy. So how will you calculate the increase in kinetic energy? So from the final kinetic energy, you will subtract initial. That is from half mv square, you will be subtracting half mu square. Hope this is clear. So here you can take half m common, so it's v square minus u square. Now let us substitute the values. M is 1000, velocity is 20, so 20 square minus initial velocity is 10, so 10 square. Now we will solve this to get work done. So it is 1,50,000 joule. So this is the amount of work done. So here to calculate the work done, we have used work energy theorem. So this is the work energy theorem that we have used. As we can see, velocity of the body is changing. So that means there is a change in kinetic energy. So we calculated the kinetic energy and that will be equal to the work done. Now in the second part, you have to calculate power. Okay. So for power, formula is work upon time. Work is 1,50,000 and time given is 2 minutes, so you will convert it into seconds. So 12 so power is equal to 1250 watt. So from here we have calculated amount of work done first and then we have calculated power. Remember, while calculating power, time should be in seconds. As time was given in minutes, we converted it into seconds by multiplying it by 60. So you can pause and note down this. How much work is needed to be done on a ball of mass 50 gram to give it a momentum of 5 kg meter per second? Now in this question you can see, first of all, mass is given to us. So mass given is 50 grams. So we will convert it into kg. So it's 1/20 kg. That is the mass. Okay, momentum is also given. So from momentum, formula is mv. So if we substitute the value, we can get the velocity with which the ball will be moving. So momentum is of 5, mass is 1/20. So from here we can get the velocity with which ball will be moving. So the ball which is having momentum of 5 kg meter per second, that ball will be moving with velocity of 100 meter per second. Now the question says calculate the work done. Now we know that work is the capacity to do work. Energy is the capacity to do work. So that means if we calculate the energy from here, so that will be equal to the work done, because energy is capacity to do work. So if work is needed, so we can say that the work will be equal to energy possessed by the body. Now which energy the body is possessing? You can see that body is in motion because there is a velocity. So that means body is in motion, and when a body is in motion, then the energy possessed by the body is called kinetic energy. So energy possessed by the body here is kinetic energy. And what's the formula for it? half mv square. Mass is 100. Sorry, mass is 1 by 20 and velocity is 100. So from here, if we solve it, it is coming 250 joule. So the work done will be 250 joule. Hope this is clear. They were asking for the work done, and we know that energy is the capacity to do work. So if work is to be calculated, means we will be calculating energy possessed by the body. And as you can see, body is in motion, so which energy will it possess? It will possess kinetic energy. So we will calculate the kinetic energy, and this will be your answer. So you can note it down. Question number 9, they say, how much energy is gained by a box of mass 20 kg when a man carrying the box waits for 5 minutes for a bus? Now in part 1, as you can see, there is no displacement. Man carrying the box is waiting for the bus. So that means there is no displacement in the box that he is carrying. And if there is no displacement, we will say that the work done is 0. So in first part, work done is 0 as there is no displacement. So work done is 0, and we know that if work done is 0, there will be no transfer of energy. So as work done is equal to 0, so no energy transfer takes place. And if there is no energy transfer taking place, so we can say no energy transfer takes place. So the first part says how much energy is gained. So the energy gained by the box will be 0. Energy gained by box is 0. That's the first part. Hope this part is clear to you. In the first part, as the box was at rest, so that means there is no displacement, so we can say that the work done is 0. And if work done is 0, so that means no energy transfer will take place, and thus we can say energy gained by box is 0, no energy gain. Second part, he runs carrying the box with a speed of 3 meters per second. Now there is motion in the box, and whenever a body is in motion, then it gains kinetic energy. So energy gained by box is equal to kinetic energy, and the formula for it is half mv square. So m is 20 and velocity is 3. So this will give you 9 into 10, 90 joule. So the energy gained by the box in second part will be 90 joule. Now in third part, he is raising the box. Now whenever a body is raised, that means whenever a body gains height, we say it gains potential energy. So energy gain by box is equal to potential energy, because he is raising the box, and when he is raising the box there will be gain in potential energy. Formula for it will be mgh, where m is 20, gravity is 10, and height is 50 centimeters. So we are going to convert it into meter, because height given to you is in centimeters, so we have converted it into meter. So energy gain will be 100 joule. Hope this is clear to you. In the first part, there was no displacement, so no work, and if no work, so no energy transfer will take place, so the energy gained by the box is 0. In the second part, there was energy gained by the box, as the box was in motion, so the energy gain will be equal to kinetic energy. And in the third part, the box was raised, so whenever a body is raised, it gains potential energy, so that is equal to mgh. So we have calculated it, and here h, height, was given in centimeters, so we have converted it into meter and then used it in the formula. So you can pause and note down this. Now numerical number 10, they are saying a spring is kept compressed. Now remember, whenever a body is changing its shape and size, you are compressing a spring, that means you are changing its shape and size. And we know that the energy possessed by a body due to change in its shape and size is called elastic potential energy. So here, a spring when compressed must be having elastic potential energy. So the elastic potential energy, spring possesses elastic potential energy, right? When the trolley is released, now when the trolley is released, that means a spring will regain its original shape and size, and then the trolley is found to move at a speed of 2 meters per second. Now what happens, the spring which is possessing elastic potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. See here, as the question says, a spring was compressed, so it was having elastic potential energy, and when released, then the trolley starts moving. So we can say that the elastic potential energy of the spring is converted into kinetic energy of the trolley. So let us calculate kinetic energy of the trolley. M over here is the mass, it's 0.5, and V is the velocity, so 2 square, so it is 1 joule. So how much is the kinetic energy possessed by the trolley? 1 joule. And from where this kinetic energy came? From the elastic potential energy. So they were asking what potential energy did the spring possess? The spring possesses elastic potential energy, which is converted into kinetic energy, that is 1 joule. So we can say potential energy possessed by the spring is 1 joule. Now in question number 11, they are saying a bullet of mass 50 gram is moving with a velocity of 500. It penetrates 10 centimeter into a still target and comes to rest. In the first part, we have to calculate kinetic energy of the bullet. Now here to calculate the kinetic energy of the bullet. First of all, you see here mass of the bullet is given in grams. So we are going to convert it into kg. So we can write it as 1 upon 20 kg. Secondly, here the distance s penetrated by the bullet is also in CGS unit. So 1 upon 10 meter. So here mass and the distance moved by the bullet, the distance penetrated by the bullet was given in CGS unit. So we have converted it into SI unit, kg and meter. Now, first part, they are asking for the kinetic energy possessed by the bullet. So kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. So half m is 1 upon 20. V over here is 500. And now we will do calculation for this, and let's see what will be the kinetic energy of the bullet. So do the calculation over here. So kinetic energy of the bullet will be 6250 joule. This will be the kinetic energy of the bullet. Okay. Now the next part, we have to calculate average retarding force offered by the target. So for this, first of all, let us calculate the work done by the bullet against the material of the target. Work done by bullet against the target. So how will you calculate the work done? You will take retarding force multiplied by distance which the bullet penetrates. So work is equal to retarding force, that is to be calculated, and the distance that the bullet penetrates is 1 upon 10. So you can write it 1 upon 10, 0.1 F. This is the work done by the bullet against the target. Now from where bullet gets the energy to do this work? So for this we can write the work is obtained from the initial kinetic energy of the bullet. This work is obtained from initial kinetic energy of the bullet. So we are going to equate these two. So 0.1 into F, this work is obtained from kinetic energy 6250. So the retarding force will be, so here F is equal to 6250 upon 0.1, that is 6250 Newton. So this will be the force, this will be the retarding force of the bullet. Here, first of all, we calculated the kinetic energy of the bullet. Then the work done by the bullet will be calculated, retarding force into distance. retarding force is F, distance is 1 upon 10. So now from where the bullet will get the energy to do this work? So this work is obtained from initial kinetic energy of the bullet. So we have equated work done is equal to kinetic energy of the bullet. So you can pause and note down this.